What's going on, everybody? I know this is a bit of an impromptu live that I'm doing, but I was on Twitter. Things were getting heated. The debate was getting heated, and so I was like, you know what? Let me start a live and let me discuss the topics that was being discussed. But before I get into anything about Devin Haney and Kambosos, why that fight hasn't been made, we'll figure it out. We'll pull up the articles for that. But Robert Easter Jr., I believe he was a former lightweight champion. He recently got shot 3 times in Cincinnati in his hometown. Listen, man, we like to have fun on this show and talk trash and do all this, but that's serious stuff. From the reports I've saw, is he's expected to survive, but you never know. You got shot 3 times. The article doesn't say exactly where he was shot. Maybe I'll breeze through it now to see if maybe I missed something, but I didn't see anything. Uh, but yeah, I'm hoping he's okay. I'm hoping everything goes okay. The guy gets arrested and he's able to continue his career. Not sure where he was shot. Hold on, I got my guest here. Ezra, what's up, brother?
Catch me at work right now, so
Oh, you at work?
I'm at work, but it's all right. I'm gonna close up shop soon.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, don't let me get you fired, bro.
It's all good.
Yo, but I decided to do this live because the talking Twitter space obviously is fun, but I feel like here is more intimate. We get to more take turns talking and stuff like that, as opposed to over there. Sometimes it's hard to get your speaking point out.
I'm already exhausted from doing that space. I love chicken talk, but I'm already exhausted from doing that. Everybody tired me out today.
Yeah, I didn't like how they were like and shout out to Lefty, Rich, Ray, all those guys. Those are all good guys. So I was just saying, like, I felt like they were a bit ignoring our points. I feel like me and you were kind of like on the same line, and they were just ignoring it and trying to. Well, yeah, but he makes more money. But it's like, yeah, but he's not as popular though.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to make a point right, and then I would say it, and I know that I was speaking clearly, right? I know I was saying what I wanted to say, but just don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? And then they were getting mad at me for saying it, right? So at least Lefty was getting mad at me for saying it. And then I felt like someone else would say my point. Like they would say exactly what I was saying, and then I'd be like, okay, what's the difference? What I'm saying, and they're like, well, this is the part you're missing. But it's like, well, you're saying my point though. Like,
Yeah.
You're like the fourth. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off.
The Fortune as thing, like I do on Twitter, right? Like I always do Fortune as, like whatever. The reason why I started a podcast, it's just so I know what I said, right? I have it saved, so I can say, yeah, I did say this, and I have all the tweets backing up that everything that happened and playing out is exactly what I told everyone was going to happen, and I've said that before, and they all laughed at me. They're like, no, Haney's getting the fight for sure. Haney's getting the fight, and I'm telling them, like, business wise, it doesn't make the most sense to fight Devin Haney. It doesn't make the most sense. Like I've always said that. I've stood by that. I'm going to keep saying it. I might rub you the wrong way, I guess, for some reason when I say it, but yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, Haney is just not a ticket seller. He doesn't fight on pay-per-view because he fights on the zone, so it's on the app. I just don't see, that belt he has is very devalued. You personally don't even care about the belt.
I don't care. And the fighters don't even care about belts because Tank has already said he doesn't care about the belts. And then Ryan Garcia says that he'll win undisputed, but he'll probably drop all the belts because they don't care about the belts. They lost value because you guys are more famous than the belts. Like that's the one thing that is true, right? Is like Haney needs the belts. It will increase him being a star. Like if he gets the belts, no doubt about it. He has more to negotiate with with having the belts. But when he gets them, right, does that mean Tank's going to come? Right? Because he has the belts? Because Tank could do it right now. Tank could go fight Kambosos. They can go get the money right now and take that fight. Tank's the number one star in the sport. He can take that fight.
I'm not sure Tank could go to Australia like how he wants.
Yeah, but I have my doubts whether that fight really happens in Australia. If you fight Ryan Garcia, it's probably gonna happen in the States. I just think they're just taking the biggest payday. I really believe it's just whatever's the most money on the table, and I think that DAZN is willing to offer more for Ryan Garcia.
The thing is Ryan Garcia is the biggest star. Whether we like him or not, he's the biggest star. Yeah. Yes, of course, he doesn't fight as often, and he does this weird stuff where after every lightweight fight, he says he would have knocked out both of them, and that does get tiresome. But at the end of the day, one guy is significantly more popular than the other. I'm looking at it right now. Devin Haney has 1.1 million followers on Instagram. Ryan Garcia got 8.7 million. Now you can say, yes, Devin Haney's getting paid more, but At no point did I say Devin Haney is not more popular, is not more business savvy than Ryan Garcia. That I'm not arguing because the proof is in the pudding. He is, but he's not more popular.
Well, here's the thing though, like, so I get like, okay, yes, what the problem is, and this happened in Terence Crawford negotiations with Earl Spence or with anyone with Terence Crawford, right? Is that they're bringing to the table their purse and they're saying, this is what I make, right? And they're saying, I need to make this for this fight. It needs to be more than what I make now, right? What the promoter and the network is saying is, I don't care what you made. What did the fight make? That's what I care about. I don't care about what you made, right? I could make for my company, right? Say I just pay myself a check of $3 million, but the company's only making $1 million. That doesn't mean I'm valuable enough for $3 million. No, it's hurting the business, that value. It doesn't mean that's what I'm worth because I'm not worth it because it's hurting the business. So they're coming, Terence Crawford, same problem. And the guy from PBC said this. He was on an interview and he said, the offer we would offer Terence Crawford, we wouldn't want to insult him with, right? Because what does that mean? It's either what he's getting paid or it's less than what he's getting paid to get the fights that he wants. That's exactly what Devin Haney, the same thing's happening with Devin Haney, is that he's going in there with a person, he's saying, this is what I make. And they're telling you, yeah, they overpaid you. We're not.
And I forgot who it was. I haven't seen it. I want to say it was you. Didn't you say that Eddie Hearn gave an interview where he said, well, Devin Haney has to make a decision if he wants to make more money or if he wants to fight for belts? Didn't he?
It's kind of just like common sense, right? And I understand, like, why would you ever go for less money in your biggest fight? And I understand that. But sometimes you got to make those sacrifices to get the big fights, right?
Floyd took short money. Floyd took short money when he fought Oscar. He gave, I think he took 30%. And we both know Floyd Mayweather is a terrific negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, he got 30 or 40%. I don't know what happened. Your video cut out. But yeah,
the space ended. I was in there, so my bad.
Okay, yeah. So 30 to, I believe he got 30% against Oscar. Yes, did he take less money? But look what happened to him in the long run. He ended up becoming a draw because he ended up winning that fight.
Yeah, sometimes you got to bet on yourself, right?
You got to bet on yourself.
He's that spot, and the thing is like, see, it's coming out like negative, like what I'm talking about. Devin Haney. It's not. I'm just speaking reality here, right? Like, if we're talking just star power, the guy's not a star yet. Now we could look at it. See, we could choose to look at it different ways for different guys, right? Now, whenever I will bring up Ryan Garcia, people will say, well, no, he's not selling tickets, right? So he's not a star. He's just a social media star. But then if I bring up Devin Haney, it's like, well, no, actually, in social media, he's a big topic. He's all these things, but he doesn't sell tickets, and it doesn't correlate. And it's like, well, wait a minute, which one's negative, which one's positive?
Yeah. I'm like, I never see anybody outside of a boxing hardcore talk about Devin Haney.
Yeah,
I never like. My girlfriend has seen Ryan Garcia and like, oh, whatever. Who's this young kid? He looks like he's 12. She's familiar with his face.
Mm-hmm.
If she was to see Devin Haney, she wouldn't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah,
and that's not me taking a shot. That's just the reality.
Everybody's talking about what Devin Haney was built and all that. A lot of people know Devin Haney trained at Wildcard Gym. I seen Devin Haney when he was a kid spar. He was 16-year-old sparring fighters, right? I seen that. I've seen all those things. I was right next to Devin Haney. I didn't know who Devin Haney was. I just knew him as a kid from the gym. Like, oh, that kid from the gym, he must be pretty good because he's already sparring pros, right? But I never knew, like, oh, that's Devin Haney. And I followed the sport. So don't tell me, like, oh, he was some big mega. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
No. And let me add to that. So in Ryan Garcia interview again with Mike Tyson on Hot Boxing, it was 1 year ago. He did 321,000 views. That's how much Devin Haney did. Telfimo did 558,000, and Ryan Garcia did 815,000.
Yeah, so Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney is not even comparable. I mean, who's the bigger star?
No, but even with Telfimo, Telfimo had more than 200,000.
And everyone trying to do boxing math on it, like, oh, well, Teo lost to Kambosos, so he must be trash now. And it's like, come on, what? And I praise Haney, right? I'll defend Haney because you'll put down Haney as far as like boxing wise, right? I'll be like, hey, no, he's actually pretty decent, right? But I'm not gonna have him over Teofimo. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna have him over Teofimo. When I seen Jojo Diaz get to him, when I seen Leonardo get to him, I'm not gonna have him above Teofimo. Okay? Lennox Lewis lost to Rockman. That doesn't mean everybody surpassed Lennox Lewis as soon as he lost to Rockman.
Exactly.
And that's simple enough to say, but sometimes you have to say that because people are going to talk and they're going to filibuster this thing of like, oh, well, yeah, actually this and this. No, let's just cut down to it. Good guys have lost to got lesser fighters before. usually they could come back, right? If they're worth what we think they are, right? And I think Teofimo's pretty damn good. Like I said, I posted, I'm buying his stock.
Yeah, you buying his stock. I remember.
Yeah, so I think he'll come back from that loss and still look pretty good. I think it was a couple of circumstances what led to that loss, but I'm not going to be like, oh, he's trash now compared to everybody else. I can't do that.
No. And on top of that, like, we all saw Tio fight against Kambosos. He never fights like that. And let's give credit to Kambosos. I'm not gonna discount. He did come with a great game plan as far as controlling the distance. But let's not act like that Teofimo who came in with no game plan, just came in looking for a knockout. That's the Teofimo we're used to seeing. That's not the case at all, if we're being honest with the public.
Yeah, and I just want to say this, so when I can do like later on when they do fight, because I do believe that Haney and Garcia will fight this year. That's one of my call outs. I said that would be the fight. I would pick Ryan Garcia in that fight, and I'll say it confidently because he's not going to hold off Ryan Garcia, even if he outboxes him early. And nothing really shows me like Ryan Garcia has not been outboxed by anyone. That's just the case. He got hit with a big shot by Luke Campbell, but he was never been outboxed. Right? He's
and no, go ahead. I'll let you finish your point. What was that?
That disconnect?
Yeah, like your voice went out, but now I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying that Ryan Garcia's never been outboxed. We have a idea of what he can do, but that's about it.
No, and like the thing is, we've seen Devin Haney habitually get hit with a left hook to the head. That's been his knock defensively. It seems like he tries to do the Floyd Mayweather thing, but it seems like he forgets to turn. He forgets to dip. He just kind of is satisfied with just standing there. And I don't think pound for pound, I don't think maybe besides Inouye, anybody has a stronger left hook than Ryan Garcia. And you can say who he's knocked out. That's fine. I'll accept that as an argument piece. But look at the way he's knocking dudes out. Like, you're not going to tell me when he knocked out Francisco Fonseca that wasn't one of the most fantastic knockouts you've seen that year.
If Devin counts in the performances that Ryan Garcia had, he'd be an absolute superstar, right? We would be hyping him up as the next pound for pound guy. Now, I understand Ryan Garcia has these holes in his game that we can all see, right? He stands too tall, drops his hand, you know what I mean?
Chin in the air.
Chin in the air. Those are obvious things that we can all see. But that doesn't mean that Devin Haney doesn't have holes that we're not seeing. And I think we do see holes, right? You're just talking about it right now. When he moves his head, he has to plant his feet, right? He doesn't use distance. Like when a guy attacks him, he stays in that punch zone and looks to move out of the way from the shots. Also, his head movement becomes a little bit predictable. So later in the fight, you start seeing guys catch him because they start seeing where his head's going to be.
And and to add to that, Devin Haney is accustomed to being the fastest fighter in the ring, which he usually is because he's a fast fighter. I've never taken that away from him. He has fast hands. That's not going to be the case when you fight Ryan Garcia
or Tank Davis.
You know what I'm saying? And then not only are you not going to be as fast, you definitely don't hit as hard. So what advantages do you have against maybe? I think Ryan's taller. Yeah, you have no advantages against this guy.
A lot of it is the ceiling that people see for Haney, like what he could be. Right?
I don't see it at all.
I think that's a fair point. I mean, I think he has, if he could put his whole game together, right? Maybe develop a little bit more. He looks like he could be a very good fighter, right? A very high level fighter. Right now, it hasn't been consistent performances. You know, I love his win over Jojo, right? Like me personally, I had that fight a little closer, but I love that win over Jojo. I thought he did what it took to beat Leonardo. It was kind of more one-sided fight than I first remember when I first saw it, but he got hurt late, made it a real questionable performance at that point. But I like he's progressing along, right? But I can't just hand him the crown that he's the best guy in the weight, and now he's better than Teofimo. Now he's better than Loma. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Like, he's not better than Loma.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think, like, whether gathering all the information you've read as well as what your gut tells you, why do you think we haven't gotten the Kambosos Haney fight signed, sealed, and delivered already?
I think the zone made an offer on the fight. I think that Haney wants more than his bare minimum, right? His minimum, what his contract says. Haney wants more than that. And I think that what Kambosos wants and what Haney wants, the zone's not willing to pay that because they don't feel like they're going to get a return on it, right? And I think that they feel like if the zone, remember, not the zone, not Matchroom, the zone feels like they can make good money with the Ryan Garcia fight and Kambosos fight. I think they feel like Ryan Garcia is on the cusp of being a superstar, and they feel like they can make a good return on that, And then
he has a fight lined up already, though.
Yeah, and then the Haney fight. Oh, well, you're saying Ryan Garcia has a fight lined up?
Yeah, Ryan Garcia has a fight lined up, so Kambosos has to put in a fight unless he's going to wait until after he fights to go.
That's the deal. The deal is supposedly that Kambosos gets a tune-up, and then as well, and then they fight each other. So I think that DAZN sees that and they think it's more profitable, and I think they know that the Devin Haney fight's always going to be there for the winner, whoever wins. Devin Haney going to turn down the fight now?
No, but then who does Devin Haney fight in the interim?
They're going to find it something that makes logical and financial sense to them.
Let's look at the lightweight landscape, because I honestly, as a champion, I don't want to see him fight Isaac Cruz. I don't want to see him fight.
Cruz just signed to fight someone, so Cruz just picked up.
There you go. So Cruz is not even available. Who? Richard Comey coming off a loss of Lomachenko? Because Lomachenko is not going to fight him. At least I wouldn't think so. I mean, I like the fight. I think Lomachenko wins, but I don't think that fight happens. Who else? Fortuna? I mean, that fight doesn't really move me. Nakatani?
No.
Yeah, there's no really, like, Rolly is on PBC. Michelle Rivera is on PBC. Ricky Burns doesn't move the needle for me. Like there is no name. If he doesn't get the Kambosos fight next, who the fuck is he gonna fight? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I'm not
Maxie Hughes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're doing him a disservice. They're not doing him a disservice. They might be doing him a disservice as far as growing him, right? But also it's also on him too. He's not exactly having these performances where it's like, oh wow, that really stood out to me, right? And it's not just knockouts. Like if I say that, someone's gonna be like, oh, you're just wanting a knockout. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just having a consistent performance, right? Having highlights on your fights where you're like, hey, look at this. Like, look at what's his name just got a decision. Bam Rodriguez just got a decision.
Oh, he looked fantastic.
The things that he's done where it's like just really stands out. I just haven't seen that with Haney where he has like the complete performance where it really stands out.
That's what I'm saying. I've with the exception of, I forgot who he knocked out. Really, it was like a really bad knockout. It was he knocked somebody out with a left hook early coming up in his career, where it was really impressive. And that was the first and only time that I came away going, damn, this kid Devin Haney may be something special. That was one time I came away feeling like that. And then it's like, you put in a trash performance against Gamboa, a horrible performance. Yes, he won all 12 rounds, but he didn't drop him. I was not entertained. He didn't get the knockout. Gamboa is a chinny motherfucker. Same thing with Linares, another chinny guy, got hurt in the fight, was holding, wasn't acting like a fighter after he got hurt. And then Jojo Diaz touched him up, especially in that 12th round. And to me, the 12th round matters. That lets me know who really wants to fight. That's when who's going to bite down after going 11 hard rounds. Who's going to bite down in the 12th? And he didn't show me that. So he didn't show me he had dog in him when Linares hurt him. And he didn't show me he had dog in that 12th round against Jojo Diaz. I don't know what people see in Devin Haney as far as, now, do I think he's a bum? I've never, me and you, we've had plenty of conversations. I've never called him a bum. I just said, you comparing him to Loma and Tank and Ryan and Tio, I don't think he's in that class. I think all of them knock him out. Well, I don't think Loma knock him out. I think Loma just outclasses him, kind of like how he did Richard Comey.
I think what he is he's like in the NBA you have like a top draft pick, right? And like, so say if you get drafted in the top 5, you're gonna have a different look on you than a guy drafted in the top of the 2nd round, right? You're just
exactly. He's a 2nd round pick. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. They see something else. They see something in you, right? I think people still see. I think if Devin Haney was in the NBA and he was drafted in the top 5, they still see his potential, right? Like, oh, this guy could be something. He just hasn't turned into it yet. I think that's what everybody's judging him off. Like, there's a ceiling there that he could reach that maybe these other guys can't reach. That's how they feel about it.
No, the thing is, listen,
and his style is the style that a lot of guys have had great success. So it kind of, I can see what they're saying. Like, there's a lot of great success that people have had with that style. That it looks like he looks like the blueprint, right? But just sometimes guys just is missing one thing, right? He's missing the power. He's head movement's a little bit predictable. He doesn't keep the distance all the time. That's what.
The thing is with him that, again, we've been on live a couple times. I like mean fighters. He hasn't shown me that mean streak. He hasn't shown me that dog in him where it's like, you in there with a fucking man. Like, he hasn't shown me none of that. It's like, and a lot of people, so I believe it or not, there's crazy people who compare him Floyd Mayweather when Floyd Mayweather was coming up. But when Floyd Mayweather was coming up at 130, he was knocking motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
You know, he knocked out Corley, he knocked out Manfredi, he knocked out Gennaro Hernandez.
135, he was super aggressive.
Yeah, so it's like you at some point you have to show you're the boss in the ring, and I feel like a lot of times in the ring, Haney is comfortable with showing you, oh, I'm just better than you. You know, I'm not the boss in the ring, and I feel like once he gets somebody in the ring with him, where it's like he fights Tio, and Tio's like, no, let's find out who's the fucking man in here. I don't feel like he has that mentality that to get himself out of that situation, and he doesn't have the power to keep off a Tio or a Tank or something like that.
Especially Tank, especially.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have the power and somebody's coming at you with either just as much skill or just as much hand speed, what are your advantages?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he always keeps guys in fights because he's not putting the power on them to get them out of there or keep them away. You know what I mean? You're always going to be in the fight. You could go 11th round, you could still be putting the same momentum on him.
Because Mayweather later in his career wasn't getting knockouts, but you never saw nobody running at Mayweather like that. Because Mayweather could pop. He had bad hands, so he just figured I'm probably better off just hitting them, touching them up, letting them know I'm the boss, and he'll learn. So he'll learn not to come in and rush in on me like that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So I just don't understand the confusion of oh, I can't believe this is happening against Haney. It's just listen, in boxing, this is the way it goes, right? This is the way it goes. You're not a star. You don't have that kind of power or pull like that. And he just happened to be under the same network as Ryan Garcia. Now, if he was the only one under the network, I'm sure they would find a way to make this work, right? They would take the loss on this fight and pay him the amount that he wants, pay Kambosos the amount he wants. But they have Ryan Garcia there. And they're like, this guy's going to make money. This guy's not. And this fight will still be there after we fight Bill Ryan Garcia.
And you'll pay Ryan Garcia a reasonable amount. You know, Ryan Garcia doesn't have whatever deal Devin Haney has. I heard he got paid $5 million for his last fight. I could be off on that.
But Devin Haney gets paid really good for 135, especially for the level of competition he's faced.
Of course.
Yeah, he's getting paid really good. And I'm not people take that as I say that if it's a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. It's really good for him. But sometimes that's short term and not long term, right? There's not long term growth when he came up with. They took the money. They said, this is good money. I want it now. But long term, right? Did you think about well, who do they have? Who are they going to match me up with? Who's on this side of the street? Because sometimes you got to do that. See, Terence Crawford got stuck with Top Rank. He's on the wrong side of the street from all the guys that were fighting at 147.
That's a good point.
Good money right there, right? You took good money, guaranteed money, right? But the growth of your career wasn't there because they didn't have it, because they don't have the guys there. That's why they had to overpay you.
Yeah, all as a man, you learn that your decisions have consequences. Sometimes they're good consequences and sometimes they're bad. In the terms of Haney and Crawford, they signed a deal with a promoter who wasn't as powerful or didn't have enough fighters at their weight class, and the consequences that is their legacy. A lot of times people don't want to see the sacrifice they're making when they sign these deals. You're making a sacrifice from your legacy to make more money, but accept your fate when you see fighters strategically avoiding you because they will make less money fighting you than they would fighting someone else. So they fight someone else instead of you. And also you got that belt in some weird fucking way where a lot of people don't consider Devin Haney a real champion. A lot of people consider him an email champion.
Yeah. And when Canelo was fighting on DAZN, right? He probably could have made more money going somewhere else, right? He probably could have made more money if he went and did the free agent thing and right when he left Golden Boy and went somewhere else and made a big payday, right? But he had a vision of I could get this many number of fights guaranteed this year. So I'm going to make up some paydays, right? So I may not be getting the fat chunk of money for the one fight, but over time, right, it'll be profitable me fighting in England, fighting all these English fighters, right? And getting the Eurodome fight in between that, right? That no one's willing to pay for besides this probably, right? Yeah. They paid, right? So he collected a payday on a fight that he wasn't, not really at risk of losing, right? Then when he got done with that, then he said, okay, I can go to PBC now, right? And I'm going to do the one fight deal with them, get my highest guaranteed payday. And then I can still come back and fight Charlo, fight Benavidez. See that those kind of decisions, right? And Haney took, I'm not knocking it. He took guarantee. He's getting paid good. He has good money for at the age. And you got to remember too, Devin Haney's really young. He's really, really young. So he doesn't need to be exactly rushed along. Tank's 27 years old, barely getting his big fights.
How old is Devin?
I think he's 24, 23.
Let me check. Because they were saying like, oh, he's 23, 23. I'm like, that sounds off. I don't think he's 23. I think he's 24. Oh,
I
hold
think
on.
he's like 24. He's young.
Well, all right. T.O.'s 24. I just checked. And then Devin Haney is so he is 23.
Yeah, he's young. That's what I'm saying.
He's
It's
young.
like
He's young.
people are acting like he's Terence Crawford. He's like 35, and he's not going to get he's never going to get the fight. It's like
Yeah. And getting back to the Twitter space, they were saying how popular he was, and like, he just doesn't have paying customers that are his fans. Then why did his Mike Tyson interview have less views than all his contemporaries? And then his Breakfast Club interviews are very, very low numbers. Again, this is free content. I could type in Devin Haney Breakfast Club, and that's free. I could type in Devin Haney hot boxing with Mike Tyson for free, and people are choosing to watch his contemporaries over him. And these other fighters haven't been on the Breakfast Club, but I bet you if Ryan Garcia, T.O., Tank what has been on the Breakfast Club, and he has like 10 times more views than what Devin Haney has. Like, I don't understand how people see the guy is not that popular. He's not very known. On the Twitter space where we were, some guy from Oakland said that, Devin Haney could walk down the street in any block in Oakland that he wouldn't be recognized.
Yeah,
his hometown.
That doesn't surprise me at all. You know what I mean? It's
and
just
then
like,
he only sold what 5,000. I think it was 5,200 in that fight against Jojo Diaz in Las Vegas, his second hometown. And it sounded like most of the fans were for Jojo.
you got to think too, like Ryan Garcia, right? And he was actually criticized for this, but Ryan Garcia had got in with Logan Paul and Jake Paul early in his career.
I remember.
Right? And he even has a video where like him and Jake Paul are kind of like going at it. It's obviously planned and written or whatever, but they're talking about like this make the fight or let's make the fight or whatever, right? Everybody was calling him a clown for that, right? Like, doing this and fighting. Now, hell, you have half the pro boxers calling out Jake Paul. This dude was making these decisions way beforehand. He knew that he can use this to catapult himself in his career, and that's exactly what he's doing.
One of the cruiserweight champions tattooed Jake Paul on his body. That's how desperate he is to get the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so at first, I'll be honest, I was a bit scared of Jake Paul and what he's going to do to the sport, and I thought he was going to ruin it. But he's came in with some creative ways of promoting boxing. Look what he's done for the career of Amanda Serrano. He got Montana Love fought in his undercard, got a deal with Matchroom. I believe his name is what was that? There was another Australian fighter, I forget his name, who fought on his undercard, got a deal with Matchroom. The guy is getting boxers paid, and it looks like he's in it for the long haul, and he's in it for the good of boxing.
If you look at a lot of his cards, I mean, I know they had like the basketball player versus football player.
Yeah, Frank Gore versus Deron Williams.
Like legit fights. I mean, they're legit fighters getting a legit opportunity and making probably their biggest paydays. Most of them their biggest paydays. So
yeah, he even put Tommy Fury on his undercard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you look at Jake Paul, it's the thing that people aren't realizing is it can't be really replicated. You know what I mean? It's there's no trick here. He's actually fighting. You know what I mean? And he's actually getting all right at it. You know, I wouldn't say he's great or good or anything, but he's all right. You know, he's credible. And I would say that it's not like, he can. A lot of people can mimic this. No, I don't think so. I don't think really anyone can really mimic what he's doing. It's actually pretty amazing what he's doing. So yeah, I never was worried like, oh, he could ruin the sport. I thought more Logan Paul versus Floyd. I thought that was a little bit like borderline, like, oh, I don't really care for that. I don't really like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying though, as far as, here's another thing. You bring up Jake Paul. Everybody's saying, oh, he should sign with Jake Paul. He should sign with Jake Paul. It's cool. It's cool the breaks, right? It's cool the breaks on it right now. Okay, Jake Paul. I like everything he's doing. Amanda Serrano. I like all that. Let's not forget that that's still Eddie Hearn. Evolved in that situation as far as business end. Let's not forget that Jake Paul's new to this. Let's not just put all our faith now in Jake Paul as a big time promoter. These guys have been doing it for a lot of years, a lot of experience, and it's just cool the breaks on that. The Jake Paul taking over all the fighters now.
The thing is with Jake Paul becoming a player in boxing, I don't have any doubt that if he put all his attention to boxing, he could do it. But in boxing, it's not necessarily how good of a promoter you are. It's how many fights can you get me? Can you get me the big fights? So if let's just say Devin Haney signed with Jake Paul, what's the difference between him and Eddie Hearn? He's Jake Paul don't got Ryan Garcia under his banner. He doesn't have Tank. He doesn't have T.O. Doesn't have Josh Taylor. So it's like, who are you gonna fight?
it's more positioning. You got to realize that. It's like, listen, Charlo doesn't have an opponent, right? He might get Canelo because they're gonna pay, not overpay, but they're gonna pay Canelo big to fight him, right? They're gonna guarantee him a lot of money to fight him, and Canelo needs opponents, right? But for a while, Charlo was stuck on an island with no one to fight, right? And he's on the PBC. It's just positioning. Where are you positioning yourself? You got to think when you sign, who do they have? How can I see this playing out? That's exactly what it is. It's all about positioning. The Top Rank is bad for Terence Crawford, but Top Rank is good for Shakur Stevenson because they have Valdez, they got Burchell, they have Lomachenko. See, it's the positioning of where you go and where the fighters are at that you're in your level of competition is it really what matters.
No, I totally agree with you. A lot of people look at boxing as a sport, but you'll go about your life much better if you look at it as a business, you know. And I try my best not to focus too much on the business side of it. I try to focus on who I think would win. But, you know, it gets redundant at a point where I keep saying I think, you know, Devin Haney loses to these other guys. So I have to explain to the consumers who are confused why these fights haven't been made. And that's why me and you have to sit down and talk business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it gets a bit frustrating when people are fans of certain fighters and they want to manipulate the truth to follow their narrative, or they have one excuse for one fighter, but another fighter can't use that same excuse.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like when I talk about like, oh, what fight could happen next? I never just do like Lomachenko versus Tank Davis, right? That's the fight's going to happen next because I know that it's not going to happen. So when I put that out, there's no point. It's just causing. I do what's realistic, what could and should happen next, right? Because you need that could. Because if you don't have that could, then you're going to make a bunch of matchups that are no chance of happening, and there's no point even opening your mouth about because it's not going to happen. It's just nonsense.
No, and getting back to my point earlier, how one excuse for one fighter or one promoter is good and the other one isn't for another. Yeah. Now, Bob Arum came out and said, well, Devin Haney signed with the wrong promoter. And they want to make that like a big thing. Like, wow, I can't believe he said that in public, blah, blah, blah. But Al Heyman didn't necessarily say it about Terence Crawford, but the way he acting is that way. He didn't give him any of his PBC fighters up until his last mandated fight with him in Top Rank. If it really was, oh, it's no problem what promoter you signed with, you would have negotiated with him. Even if you say, oh, he priced himself out. But there were never talks about making him and Thurman, him and Crawford, him and Garcia, him and Porter, but when Porter had a belt. It's like
he got the ultimate steal at the end, right? That was like one of the best promotional deals that anyone has ever done for their fighter, right? And to stick at Top Rank too. They got Top Rank desperate for a legit opponent, right? And then they needed a legit opponent because they had one more fight guaranteed with Terence Crawford. They got Shawn Porter, right? They pull out of the deal. They say, I don't want anything to do with this promotion. I'm just going to give you Shawn Porter. You pay him, whatever you negotiate with, right? And I think he got, a really good payday for that fight.
I believe he got $4. I believe he got $4 million.
No financial responsibility to that fight. They got out of it. Top Rank took full responsibility, and no one really talked about this. Everybody said that Fox got out of it because they were going to have the Canelo fight. Well, Fox didn't even get the Canelo fight. Showtime did. They didn't get that fight because they knew it wasn't going to sell, and they got their fighter paid a good amount of money for a fight that was never going to sell, and they knew that, and they got out of it. It's smart. Like they do smart moves like that, and I should be given credit for when they do stuff like that.
I didn't even do that correlation, but now that you're saying it, that is true. That is true. They literally just sent their fighter. I'm sure it took their promotional fee, whatever, 15-10%. I have no idea how much money they get. Yeah, but they like, hey, yeah, just go pay us whatever you making. He's making $4. Let's say they get 10%, so a 10% will be $400,000. We'll get $400,000 on that fight, and we're not taking any risks. If the fight does well, God bless you, and if it tanks, hey, we made $400,000 out of it.
And they go in knowing that at worst he loses, he was going to retire anyways, and if he wins, they get the Spencer Thurman payday.
Yeah, you're right.
No risk, very low risk. It was one of the best, like as far as promotional manager deals that was happened last year. That was number one.
No, I didn't even correlate that, but you're right. That was a good business move by PBC. And switching topics a little bit, we can get back to this Haney conversation because there's a lot to unpack, as obviously the viewers know. But I just want to talk about. Did you hear about Robert Easter Jr.? He got shot. I just want to screen share and read it out to you guys. And for those of you who are religious, keep them in your prayers. These fighters put their lives on the line for us for our entertainment. And the guy got shot. So I'll read some of it and then we can discuss how we feel about it. Robert Easter shot, hospitalized after fending off robbery attempt in Cincinnati. So Robert Easter Jr. is expected to survive and fully recover after being hospitalized for multiple gunshot wounds. The former IBF lightweight titleist is currently undergoing surgery at a Cincinnati hospital, according to WTOL 11 Network in Easter's hometown of Toledo, Ohio. Easter was reportedly shot 3 times after fending off a group of men who approached the boxer demanding money at gunpoint. News of the incident was confirmed to WTOL 11 on Monday by Easter's father and co-trainer Robert Sr. Hold on one second. I'm trying to see if it does. Yeah, just he's in surgery right now. He's expected to survive, guys. So I just wanted you guys keep that guy in your prayers, man. Again, if you're religious, pray for him. Make sure he has a full, healthy recovery. He can be able to come back and continue his boxing career. He's a good kid. I've never heard him say anything disrespectful. So I'm open for the best for him.
Yeah, Robert Easter was actually on getting on a good spot of his career too. Got a few wins under his belt. Could have been in line for some interesting fights, especially the weight that he's at. There's a lot of interesting fights, but that's unfortunate. That freaking sucks.
Yeah, no, he's right there. He's right there between 135, 140, and
especially where he's on PBC. There's just so many matchups that you could have had.
There's so many matchups there. Unfortunately, the guy got shot. I don't know the exact status of why he got shot. It says he got shot because he was trying to be robbed, but also wasn't what's his name, Adrian Broner, also shot at in Cincinnati 2-3 years ago?
I'm not sure.
I'm 99% sure Adrian Broner also got shot, his car shot up, and actually didn't get shot, thank God. But yeah, so it seems like that city's pretty lit. I hope he reconsiders where he lives and maybe moves to either a better area, another state, but I guys, keep him in your prayer, man. Robert Easter, again, good guy. I've never heard anything bad about him. He's fought Mikey Garcia, Javier Fortuna, a couple other guys. So the guy's not a ducker. Again, not to my knowledge. I've never heard him in trouble with the law. Good guy. So I hope nothing but the best for him.
I back that. I second that.
Yeah. All right. So back to what we were talking about. So who do you think? You said that you think that Kambosos is. You think he's gonna take a tune-up type fight?
Well, that's what the talk is, right? So if Ryan gets a tune-up, he gets a tune-up. Who really knows, right? What if he just ends up fighting Haney? Right? What if this, and then we had this whole talk for no reason? But yeah, maybe he gets a tune-up. I don't really like that decision. I get the counter of getting more paydays, right? But you're risking the big payday. You kind of had to strike while the iron's hot. I've always felt that way. And he has a Haney fight that's gonna be a big payday. He has a Garcia fight that's a big payday. Might as well fight one of them. Then fight a tune-up where you could come out flat. It's not a guy you're gonna be extremely motivated for, right? A guy you could overlook. And put yourself in that situation where, you just beat Lee Shelby barely, right? Just beat Mickey Bay barely. Might as well strike while the iron's hot, right? And you came motivated to Teofimo. I just think that that's pretty risky. Now, if he wins and gets 2 paydays, then I was wrong. But just me, I don't think the risk is worth the reward. I think the risk is worth the reward.
But all right, let's entertain that he's going to he's going to take a tune-up. Who the fuck does he fight? I mean, I guess he's a big draw in Australia, so...
I guarantee, if he gets a tune-up, I guarantee it's a Ludabella fighter. I 100% guarantee that. Because I would Ludabella risk his second payday. As long as Ludabella has someone with the belts, he's going to get his payday.
Okay, So, I mean, Comey's coming off a loss, but he's a Ludabella fighter, and he's not a terrible fighter. He's not somebody that's wow, really, that's the guy you taking? I mean, I'll be upset, don't get me wrong, but he's not a super, nowhere near his class,
If I'm Kambosos, I'm that's too risky. No, they give me something less than that.
You need somebody who hit a little less hard.
Yeah, I just need someone with less skill and all around, just not as good a fighter.
No, but Comey could crack, man. So
he could. I don't want to fight anyone with any capabilities of that. I want to fight the lightest fight I could get, lightest
Oh,
touch.
so what you're saying is that he should fight Haney? Hey, you said somebody who can't punch. Listen, man. I honestly, that's the fight I want. Only because that I got vaccinated today. Yo, my fucking arm is killing me, man. But if I'm him, man, yo, take that Devin Haney fight. That's the fight I want to see next because I want it to be undisputed.
No, I that's the thing is I wanted the Haney fight. I was like good with the Haney fight, but I'm not going to act like the Garcia fight's not a good fight either. You know, that's a really good fight too.
No,
it's
I want to.
Because Haney's been calling out everyone. He kind of deserves this because he's willing to fight anyone. He's been calling everyone. He's been. You could never. I've never will make the claim that Haney doesn't want to fight someone. He wants to fight everyone. I just know that the far star power, he doesn't have a lot to get to the. You know.
The thing is that he has to make a choice within himself. Obviously, Kambosos is saying the fight has to be in Australia. I'm the champion. I'm the one that has more of the belts. I'm the lineal champion. If you want to fight me, fight in Australia. Now, from what I understand, what they were talking about on the Twitter space is that there's less money in Australia, which I'm not going to argue. I was like, if the gate numbers are lower there, then that's true. Okay. But they're launching the Zone Australia. That they're going to launch that. So why not do it with the lineal lightweight champion for undisputed?
Now, the gate numbers might be smaller there, right? Because maybe the ticket prices are lower, right? That would make a lot of sense. So even if you sell out, it's not the equivalent to selling out maybe a stadium here, right? Or arena here. But there's also a question whether even Kambosos and Devin Haney can sell out a massive arena here, right? So
yeah, I mean, neither are big stars. You're right.
Kambosos goes to Australia, maybe it's just still more guaranteed more money because he could at least pack out the place they're fighting at. And if they come here, it might not be able to get the revenue that they wanted the live gate. But like I said, I don't know. That's all speculation.
No, but I saw a tweet, and maybe I should look for it, where George Kambosos is saying like my last, I believe 8 fights have been, know, in different. He goes like I deserve a home game, especially now that I'm the champion. You understand what I'm saying? And to be honest, I find it hard to disagree with him. So if the champion is going, listen, I want to fight at home, and if you want to fight me, it's going to have to work out financially. Devin Haney has to look himself in the mirror and go, all right, I'm either going to accept less money or go, fuck you. I'm taking my big money contract and I'm fighting Luke Campbell or Richard Comey or one of those guys.
I wouldn't mind a Devin Haney, Luke Campbell fight. I've always said that, and I stand by it.
Nah, I mind.
All right. Well, I could do this. I could do this for straight 2 hours. You know, I like talking boxing, but like as always, right? My girl, she's not that big a fan of me talking boxing, right? So I have to wrap it up. But I appreciate.
No. I just wanted to come on just because I felt like we both had a lot to say.
Oh yeah, I did. I did have a lot to say. I'm telling you, my energy's dipped. Like I was trying to yell through my voice. That sometimes I get checked out. I play it respectful. I'm just like
Those are good guys over there, man.
No, I listen to Chicken Talk. Big fan. Whenever I could be a part of the show, it's an honor to me. Like I really love that format, love everything. But today I was gonna get my opinion in. Okay, today I wasn't gonna let. I couldn't let it slide today. I just couldn't. I had to get my opinion.
No, and especially, and I know you got to go. I'll say this quick. I just felt like some people were strategically bending the truth to make their argument, and it's like, oh yeah, well he's popular. He's just popular not amongst fans who are willing to pay.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, why are his Breakfast Club videos views are low? Why are his Mike Tyson interview lower than his contemporaries? You know, why is he not selling out arenas if you're saying he's this popular fighter? It's like there is no evidence to what you're saying.
Yeah, well, you know, like I don't know if you were still on by then, but John S. Nash got him there, right? And he's really
I was.
Yeah, and he goes on there and he says like, well, maybe they're not willing to pay. DAZN's not willing to pay a lot of money for a loss they're going to take in Devin Haney to get the titles, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I said, right? But yes, I'm saying, but no one was going to challenge him on that point because it's, you know, the respect factor of who the guy is, you know, and credible information. But it's like, this is exactly what I said, right? This is exactly everything I'm saying, and everything I called out beforehand. It played out. It's playing out exactly how I thought.
No, I agree. But don't let me get you in trouble at work or with your wife or with your daughter or son. Do your thing. I know you said you had to go. I appreciate you coming on so like impromptu.
Oh man,
Uh,
anytime.
you know I fuck with. Hold on, before you go. You know I always gotta screen share your
I
channel.
always get one more subscriber every time you do it, so I
Hey
appreciate it.
man, listen. If that's how the fuck we're gonna fucking build your
Oh,
channel, one
my
subscribe at a time, then that's how we're gonna do it. All right,
Also,
everybody.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts as Raw Podcast.
There we
Also,
go. As Raw Podcast, Boxing and MMA. He's going to start uploading more often because I'm gonna be on his ass. But please go hit that subscribe button. Tell him Broadway sent you. Uh, yes, go comment on his last video. Just say Broadway sent me and subscribe. Just hit that subscribe. Look, I'm subscribed. If you look right here, it says I'm subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. As Raw Podcast, Boxing and MMA. This is my guy, as you guys see. Please support. And until next time, brother, let me not keep holding you up.
peace.
All right, peace, man. All right, guys. If you want to call in and be a part of the conversation, I'm about to pin the link to the top of the chat. I ain't do it because I have the guest on, but I hope y'all don't mind. I went live just randomly like this, you know. I I'm trying my best to give you guys what you guys want. I understand you guys like when I go live, and I so I haven't been posting as many like videos where I have to edit and stuff like that. Not that I mind, but it's because I've been going live more often. So I've been giving you guys content this way. But yeah, the link is pinned to the top of the chat if you guys want to call in. I see Real American Fan is here, and I'm pissed off that for whatever reason his Metro PCS phone won't allow him to call in. But shout out to anybody who wants to call in. I would like to see George versus Loma, then winner versus Tank, then winner versus Haney or Shakur. Okay, well, who do you have Tank? So while George and Loma fighting, who do you have Tank fighting in the interim? And then while they're fighting, who do you have Haney and Shakur fighting? And also, I don't think Shakur's moving up to 135 until he undisputes 130. Once he undisputes 130, then I feel like he'll move up because he's about to fight for another title. He has one. He's about to fight for Oscar Valdez. So let's say he wins that fight. Chris Colbert, Roger Gutierrez, they're going to fight. So we'll figure out who's going to be the WBA champion. And then I believe Ogawa is the IBF champion. ESPN could offer him some good money. Hey, listen, fight what's his name? Shakur for a 3-belt unification. Why not? And then by that point, I think that's a big fight. Colbert versus Shakur. They already don't like each other. They had a whole big back and forth on the boxing voice where they were disrespecting each other, telling each other suck they dick and they pussy and they a bitch and all that. So I would love to see that fight. Especially if it's for undisputed, that'll be a big fight then. New Jersey versus Brooklyn at the Madison Square Garden. I mean, they're gonna have to hire a little bit of extra security because Shakur's from Newark, New Jersey, and Colbert is from Brooklyn, so might be a rough crowd. Nah, I'm joking. Those are I'm from Brooklyn, but anyways, that's a big fight here in the metropolitan area. So I like that fight. I like that fight. I'm starting not to like George Kambosos. Shout out to you, Michael Blunt. Well, not shout out to you for that comment. I mean, shout out to you for being on my live. I wish PBC would make Tank versus Rivera instead of Tank versus Rolly. I really can't watch Rolly fight. Dude is terrible. Literal ass. How is he number one in the WBA? Well, the WBA is fucking trash of an organization. Like I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to try to get them motherfuckers out of business, man. They are trash organization as far as what they do to the sport with this whole WBA regular and super champion and regular champion and interim champion. And it's like, but as far as Rolly, the only thing I like about Rolly is that he's a puncher and he's not scared or intimidated by Tank. Although he did look a little nervous in that press conference, but I think it was more nerves about the press conference as opposed to Tank being there. So I feel like a lot of fighters who fight Tank, they fight a little scared. Maybe they're intimidated by the power, or they want to prove that, I can handle the power, and then end up getting knocked out like Leo Santa Cruz. So But yeah, I'm also getting annoyed with George Kambosos. Getting back to your point, I'm getting annoyed, bro. Make a decision. Yo, you won in November. It's February. How many months is that? So it's December, January, March, February. I'm glad. Oh man, I did that live. December, January, February. So it's been 3 months. There's no heavy rumors of you fighting anybody. It's been 3 months since you fought. I need some more details. If I'm Cambosos, I would have tried to make my next fight as soon as possible. You fought 1 week apart and from Haney and Tank, and 2 weeks apart from Tank Davis. So all the lightweights fought close to when you fought. I would have made that fight right away. Lomachenko, he fought 2 weeks away. Boom. If that's the fight I wanted, I would have made that fight. Oh, if it was Haney, boom, make that fight. Same thing with Tank Davis. And I understand they're trying to pit these people against each other to negotiate. I get it. But at some point, you can't keep being on Twitter negotiating through social media and expect the fans to be patient with you. Like, nah, like we want to see that shit now. We want to see that shit now, man. Colbert gonna whoop Roger, but he not beating Shakur, to be honest. Damn, bro. I know. I'm rooting for Colbert because he from BK, but nah. I don't think he beats Shakur. But that Roger Gutierrez fight, let's not sleep on Roger Gutierrez. I got to make a video on that. Let's not sleep on him. He's a good fighter. He has a good right hand. I got to make a video on it. But again, I'm picking Colbert to beat Roger Gutierrez. But I'm not dismissing Gutierrez's chances. I think that's a legit fighter. I do think that. But as far as Tank versus Michelle Rivera, you think Rivera is much better than Rolly? I don't know. I don't know how I feel. The thing is with Rivera, I need to see more of him. I've seen more of Rolly than I have seen of Rivera, to be honest. But the thing is, Rolly got power, so with any fighter, if you got power, that's an equalizer. Like, I'm trying to think who like look at Wilder. Wilder, if let's be honest, he's not the most skilled fighter. But you're not gonna tell me that knockout of Artur Spielka or that knockout of Dominic Brazil or both knockouts against Luis Ortiz wasn't impressive. When you're a power puncher, your lack of skill can be masked by that, Like in the second Wilder Ortiz fight, he was losing every second of that fight. Then boom, landed a right hand and just KO'd him. So now, does Rolly have Wilder type power? I mean, that would be excessive for me to compare them as far as that. But he does have power. He does have one punch type knockout power. But I don't like his style. It's very inside, dirty, uses his head and elbows and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of Rolly, to be honest with you. Yes, Rivera is better than Rolly, bro. But I'll admit, Rivera did kind of make me question him because he couldn't stop a smaller guy. But Isaac Cruz didn't stop the same guy either. Oh, I didn't realize that Isaac Cruz didn't stop him. But Isaac Cruz, you gotta remember, it's like 5'2". It's like, I'm not gonna like Michelle Rivera is a big lightweight, if I'm not mistaken. Like, isn't he like 5'9"? I could be wrong, but let me check. If I'm not mistaken, he's a tall lightweight. It's like I'm comparing you to a guy who he's 5'8" with a 71-inch reach. Oh, he's only 23. Wow, he's a baby. All right. And then let me see Isaac Cruz. Yeah, Isaac Cruz is 5'4" with a 63-inch reach. Oh, he's also 23 years old. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. But point is, I don't know. Michelle Rivera, I need to see a little bit more of him. I can't say he's not a good fight. No, well, he's a good fighter. I can't say he's like a world championship level fighter until I see him in a little tougher. I want to see him in against a Jorge Linares or a Richard Comey before I make a proper assessment of Michelle Rivera. Because if he's in the rumors to fight Tank, then obviously he's ready. Don't tell me those guys are too much experience for him, too much this, too much that. If he's ready to fight Tank, he's ready to fight these other guys. Yeah, bro, that's true. I always wondered why Cruz is at lightweight. He would do some damage at 126 and 130. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Because sometimes, you just can't make the weight. If you can't make the weight, if you could, or even if you could make 130, but your weight drained, you might as well move up at 135. And to be honest, he has one loss or two. He has two losses and a draw. And one of them was to Tank. I mean, I think he's doing well for himself. He's doing well for himself. And then he lost in 2016 to a guy who was 9-5, but he went pro in 2015. So, his second year being a pro, he lost to a guy with what, 14 fights? And it was a decision, and he's never been knocked out. So he went pro real young if he went pro at 2015, because he's only 23. Yeah. I'm bad at math, so was that 7 years ago? Yeah, that was 7 years ago. So that means he was 16. So he was 17 when he lost to a journeyman. And then the next time he lost was to Gervonta Davis. Come on, man. Like, give my man his credit. But yeah, you're right though. I think he would do some damage if he went to a lower weight class. Oh man, that's a great fight matchup. Isaac Cruz versus Jojo Diaz. Two short guys, two smaller lightweights. Jojo Diaz started his career at 122. Let's see what weight this guy started his career. Oh, he debuted at 133. Well, it was a lightweight fight, but I'm saying his official weight was 133. He's never fought below lightweight. So he's been fighting at lightweight since 16 years old. Okay. Yeah, I think he has space to go down. He has space to go down. And it's not like, he's not like a ripped up six pack where it's like, yeah, where's he gonna lose it? He does have some little flap to him where he could lose. I think he could go down to 130. Loma has 2-3 years left to achieve his dream and collect all the belts. Because of this, he will agree to less money, and Kambosos understands this. But it is 100% losing fight for George. I agree. Loma does beat Kambosos. I do agree with that. And I also do agree that he only has 2-3 years left. Considering he's fighting at the lightweight division, I don't think he's a natural lightweight. I think he's a natural 130 pounder. Well, I mean, like, he should move down to 130. I think that's where he should fight. That's where he would perform his best. And excuse me. And yeah, so but the thing is, with Lomachenko, it has to do with Kambosos getting the most money. If he's gonna get more money to fight Devin Haney, who I think is an easier fight, why not? Why not go that route? And supposed to you fighting a more experienced Southpaw who's a two-time gold medalist? It would make no sense for him strategically to fight Lomachenko. Looks like Devin Haney gonna have to unify with Maxie Hughes. Yo, that's the thing. That's why Kambosos has so much leverage. It's like, all right, if you don't fight me, who you're gonna fight? Because Tank is not fighting Devin Haney. Ryan already has a fight lined up. Tio said he's moving up to 140. The only wild card, I mean, and let's say Kambosos fights Loma. So it's like every lightweight would be taken. You already beat Linares. You already beat Jojo Diaz. What, you're going to fight Javier Fortuna coming off a loss? Really? Richard Comey coming off a loss? That's who you're going to fight? It becomes real interesting, man. George Kambosos has a lot more leverage than people understand. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it as far as you getting the most money you can, but at the same time, don't hold up the fight, man. Don't hold up people's career, because he's holding up Lomachenko's career and Devin Haney's career. Like, let's get the fights announced, man. Let's get the fights announced. And honestly, the boxing landscape is so competitive that you need to hurry up and book a Saturday right now, because you know damn well all these promoters are looking for Saturdays. Oh, we can put it also on May this, April that, June this, June that. If we get an undisputed fight already in date, promoters are going to be hesitant to compete against that, especially since people look at the lightweight division as one of the hottest divisions in all of boxing currently. Devin should go to 140, to be honest. But the thing is, at 140, and I agree with you because we both know the 140, how I feel about the 140 division. But all the guys are either with PBC or Top Rank. Look, Pedraza, Ramirez, Josh Taylor, Teofimo, all with Top Rank. All right. Brandon Lee, Elvis Rodriguez, Subriel Matias, Richardson Hitchens, all with PBC. The only 140 pounder that Devin could fight that's on Matchroom or that's on the zone that is somebody who people are looking at as a talented fighter is Montana Love. That's the only fighter. Montana Love. So and Regis Progress. Regis Progress is available. He's a free agent, a promotional free agent. And that's actually a fight I like. All right, so there you go. Talking it out, I figured it out. If he moves up to 140, he fights Regis Progress. That's a fight that I feel like, it's a decent seller. Now, is it a pay-per-view? Is it a superstar fight? Absolutely not. But Regis Progress, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. Devin said he can fight on Showtime. Yeah, he said that, but like a lot of times these guys just say that just to talk, man. He's signed to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn does business on the zone. And what do you think? Al Heyman is going to be like, yeah, fight my, my up and coming lightweight in junior welterweight in Gary Antoine Russell, so you could beat him and then go back to the zone? They don't do business like that, bro. They don't do the business like that. Nah, Regis will hurt that boy. And I love Devin. Laugh my ass off. Regis a natural 140 pounder, and he gave Josh Taylor a good fight. But the thing is like, okay, so who's he fighting at 140? All the other guys I just mentioned are either on PBC or with Top Rank. And I'm telling you, those guys are not going to open up their fights against him unless he gives them options. Like, all right, if you win this fight, you have to stay with me. And Devin Haney seems like he doesn't do business like that. He's under Eddie Hearn. So since he's under Eddie Hearn, he's going to have to fight on the zone. And Showtime is not going to send those fighters over there to fight Devin Haney, a guy who's not that popular amongst the casual fans, if we're being honest with each other. Last time I saw Eddie Hearn on Showtime was when Badu Jack and James DeGale unified. Yeah, that's the thing. He's now the zone guy. He's now the zone guy. I saw an interview with Eddie Hearn where he said he ran into Steven Espinosa, the head of Showtime. He said that Steven Espinosa didn't give him the time of day, that went to shake his hand, and he said that he walked away from him, kind of like he's angry at him because, he's not only drove up the price on certain fighters, he's also taken some fighters out. He's taken, Devin used to be on Showtime. He went to the zone. Andrade used to be with PBC, took him to the zone. Daniel Jacobs used to be on PBC, took him to the zone. There hasn't been that many fighters who have made the switch, but there's been those three, which are significant enough for Espinosa to feel a certain way. Man, Badu Jack was a really good fighter in his prime. Yeah, I just felt like he always got the raw deal in terms of decisions. Like no close decision went to him. He that's the only thing with him, man. That's crazy. Yo. Damn, man. But now I was looking at Nakatani's record. I'm like, hell, has he fought anybody since Lomachenko? But damn, Lomachenko beat that ass so bad. That motherfucker he hasn't fought since. That was in the summer. But yeah, man, anybody want to call in? The link is pinned to the top of the chat. I'm about to hop off soon since chat's not that active besides my little bro. And but yeah, if you guys want to click the link, call in, have a conversation, or write something in the chat. I can answer any question y'all want. Let's see if anything has happened in the boxing world since we've been on. But you guys, yeah, keep my man Robert Easton in your prayers, man. He got shot up 3 times in an attempt robbery in Cincinnati. So guys, just keep him in your mind, in your prayers, and let's hope for the best, man. Let's send some positive vibes to Cincinnati and hope he makes a full recovery. I would have liked to see Ryan fight Nakatani, both tall and got reach, good reach. Oh yeah, that would have been interesting because we seen Nakatani when he fought Felix Verdejo get dropped hard, and he just kept coming and coming and coming, and ended up knocking out Felix Verdejo. So that was pretty impressive. But then we seen him get totally dominated and outclassed against Vasil Lomachenko. But nobody's ever knocked out Nakatani out cold. And also, how does Ryan Garcia react to somebody who he keeps dropping but keeps getting up to keep fighting? Because Nakatani, man, he never fucking quits. That dude's an absolute warrior, man. I got a lot of respect for Nakatani. After that Felix Verdejo fight, he proved a lot to me, man. I got a lot of respect for that man. So, to your point, yeah, I would have loved to see that. You know, a power puncher against a guy who just keeps coming no matter how hard you hit him. I would have loved to see that fight. Especially adding to your point, how they're both two tall lightweights. I would have loved it. He gave Tio some trouble. What people that's what some people say. Some people say that he gave Tio trouble. What do you think about Usyk versus Fury fight? If you look at the fights against Steve Cunningham and Otto Wallin, the Tyson had problems with them, and Usyk is much more technical and experienced. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think Fury dominates him. I don't think Usyk fucks with Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury is just too big, and Tyson Fury knows how to use his weight. He knows how to lean on you, and that's something he did even in the Steve Cunningham fight. He leaned on him a lot. He got him tired. He wore him out. He wore him out, and he did the same thing against Wilder. And Wilder's is 6'7". You know, he came into the ring. I believe it was 230 something. So if he's weighing on these dudes, tiring these guys out, what do you think he's going to do to Usyk? And yes, Usyk does have good footwork, but you know, we also seen what's his name? Tyson Fury has good defense, could slip, he can move for a big man. And then in the second Fury Wilder fight, we seen him come forward. So we've seen him fight a bunch of different ways. He's significantly taller, significantly heavier, and is a big fighter who knows how to use his weight to tire you out. I don't see how Usyk beats Fury. I'll be honest with you. I don't even think it's close. I don't even think it's close. And I'm picking Joshua to knock out Fury. I mean, not Fury, Usyk in a rematch. If it happens, who knows? That should have been talked about for fucking forever. I said the same thing about Fury bullying Usyk, but Usyk can move his feet, so we'll stay away from Fury. I'm just wondering, can Fury chase him for all 12 rounds? I would still favor Fury, though. I just think that because the thing is, in the Usyk fight, when Usyk fought Chisora, he had trouble in the first 3-4 rounds with Chisora's size, keeping him off of him. Like, what are you gonna do now when it's Fury? When it's Fury, all 6'9", 270 of him leaning on you and coming forward. Are you gonna be able to push him off and use that slick, smooth, defense and footwork to get out of the way? I just don't see it. I just don't see it. There's gonna be a lot of situations where Fury can hit Usyk, and Usyk is not big enough to hit Fury. There's gonna come a lot of situations like that. Trust me, man. But I like I'm curious to see it. I'm curious to see it because I know there are people who do feel that that Usyk does give what's his name Fury problems, but I'm not one of those people. But there are people who I respect as well that's saying that they say like, hey, Fury, he ain't fucking with Usyk. I disagree, but there's people who think that. There's people who think that. But guys, if you guys want to call in, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. Call in. We can have a conversation. I like going live, man. I like going live more so than my other videos. Oh, by the way, I got everybody hit the like button. But besides that, I'm going to start doing something because I feel like a lot of y'all don't know my personality. And I always talk about how, oh, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Like, I'm very proud of that. So I'm going to start doing something. I'm going to call it Story Saturday. So every Saturday, I'm going to say a story about my life. I've been through a lot of crazy situations. a lot of funny situations, a lot of unbelievables. Like so, every Saturday, I'm gonna um I'm gonna put out a video telling a story of my childhood, or when I was 17, 18, 19, and just a bunch of situations. So come this Saturday, I'm gonna throw out a video, and it's not gonna be well. It may be about boxing because I did used to train. It may not be about boxing, but it's gonna be a lot of funny stories, so y'all guys can get to know where I came from and why I am the way I am now. If Usyk can defeat Fury, can he be called the best of all time, bro? He'll have an argument, man. I don't know about all time because it's well, all time you have to have a long reign, but like he'll be an all time great. I can guarantee you that he'll be an all time great if he became undisputed. At first, he was a gold medalist. Then hold on, let me show y'all his undisputed run. You got me. Hold on. Let me show y'all his undisputed run so y'all can see just how great this guy is. Hold on one second. Don't leave me, guys. I'm just trying to screen share so we can talk about how great Usyk is. So not only is he a gold medalist from the Olympics, look how he got his undisputed. So he goes to Poland and beats the Polish guy for his belt. Then he takes a couple of voluntary defenses. Then goes to what is it, Latvia that he went to? Yeah, goes to Latvia to beat Brady's. Then goes to Moscow, Russia, to fight Garcia. So all 4 belts he got on enemy territory. Then he goes, makes a defense of his undisputed titles against Tony Bellew in his hometown, home country of England. Then goes to England and beats Joshua for 3 belts. And then let's just say his next fight is for Fury, for argument's sake. Bro, then you beat the tallest, biggest heavyweight of all time. He will be an all-time great if he did that. He would be an all-time great. Usyk beat every champion in their hometown. Man's a menace. Yeah, my brother, who's a very knowledgeable boxing fan, he told me he thinks Usyk is better than Andre Ward. I was like, whoa. But he's like, look at it. Undisputed at at cruiser, and then 3 out of the 4 belts at heavyweight, and he was a gold medalist, just like and he was in the tournament, the World Boxing Super Series, just like Andre Ward. Andre Ward was never undisputed. Andre Ward only had, I believe, 2 belts at light heavyweight, not 3. So he's like, how is he not better than what's his name, Andre Ward? I mean, you can make the argument that the Carl Froch and Kovalev wins, those 2 wins, he only has maybe 1 win better than that, and that's the Anthony Joshua win. You can make that argument, but Usyk is still working on his legacy. He's not done. He still has a rematch clause with Anthony Joshua, which beating him could add to his legacy, as well as a potential undisputed fight with Fury, and he could surpass an Andre Ward. Who wins, Andre Ward or Joe Calzaghe? Damn, man. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I just think Andre Ward wins, though. I just think Andre Ward was just a winner, man. The guy had not lost since he was like 14. From the amateurs, he didn't lose since he was 14, got a gold medal, and then went through a Super 6 tournament where he fought Mikkel Kessler in his first fight, who was the favorite, and beats him. Beat Arthur Abraham, a power puncher, beat Carl Froch, Sakio Bika. Even a Sakio Bika was a tough fight. Alan Green. He beat a lot of guys in that tournament, and then moves up and beats Kovalev twice, won by knockout. I don't know. I find it hard to pick on against Andre Ward because Andre Ward was so strong physically. He would lean on guys and push them and make them work. Kind of like in much different kind of way. I like he does somewhat what Fury does. Fury does it more. I'm more leaning on you, as opposed to Andre Ward makes it seem like he's trying to inside fight with you, but he's using his shoulders and elbows to make you work and make you try to not let him push you back. So you're pushing him back and you're expending energy. So Andre Ward's a very, very crafty fighter. And Joe Kawasaki was a super quick-handed fighter, but sometimes he turned to slap. And I just think that Andre Ward would be crafty enough to punch in between those punches and keep Joe Kawasaki at a distance where he has to respect what Andre Ward's counter punching. In your opinion, Andre Ward won the first match against Kovalev. That was a close fight that could have gone either way, but I gave it a Ward. I thought he would, but it was a close fight. Hell no, that was bullshit. And I love Andre Ward. He did work in the fight, but how do you get knocked down and lose probably the first 5 to 6 rounds and still get the decision? I ain't see it that way, bro. There was a lot. He broke Kovalev down a lot in the later rounds, man. He broke, and then he. But it was a close fight. Kovalev did a lot of good work, man. Kovalev's career, in retrospect, like, he probably won't get the respect he deserved, but Kovalev was a crafty fighter, and, man, he was a power puncher, vicious, mean fighter, man. He was definitely a great fighter. He probably never got into the Hall of Fame, but I definitely think he was a good fighter. I'll remember him. I will always speak positive about Kovalev's skills and how he performed in fights. Same thing I said with Jamal Charlo. I love Jamal, but Castaño won 7-5. Yeah, I thought Castaño won as well. But again, that was a close fight. I ain't have a problem with the draw. I do think Castaño won, but the draw wasn't an egregious decision. And they're having a rematch, which I'm happy. Like, oh, okay, yes, do the rematch. I agree. But guys, if you guys want to call in, I'm not going to be on much longer. But if you guys want to call in, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. We can have a conversation. We could talk women's boxing too. I never really talk women's boxing. If guys want to talk about Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields, or Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, man, that face off Katie Taylor and hold on, I'm a screen share this. I feel like Katie Taylor got intimidated a little bit. I felt like she looked a little bit intimidated in that face off with Amanda Serrano. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Damn, I guess it got deleted. What the fuck? What is it? Where is it? Hold on one second. But yeah, she just looked like uncomfortable with Amanda Serrano right in front of her. I was like, oh, there we go. All right, boom. All right, let me see. Let me screen share this for y'all. I just hate that it's the same day as Shakur Stevens and Valdez. That's annoying, man. That is mad annoying. All right. Look at this face off. Hold on one second. Look at this face off between Amanda Serrano and look how uncomfortable Katie Taylor looks. And then look at Amanda Serrano looking very, very, very confident. I don't know. I just feel like face-offs, a lot of people go, oh, don't make too much of it. I make something of it. Look how uncomfortable Katie looks right there. And then look how serious Amanda looks. Yeah. Yeah. Amanda just laughing at her. There you go. Yeah, and then she laughs at her like, but the whole time Katie looked uncomfortable. Look how serious Amanda looks here. Look how uncomfortable Katie looks. You're not gonna tell me Katie don't look uncomfortable. That's gonna be a good fight, man. That's gonna be a good fight. Oh, one sec. Would like to see Erickson Lubin versus Tim Tszyu. Yeah, man, I keep hearing this Tim Tszyu guy is good. I've seen him fight a couple times. I've liked what I saw, but I would like to see him step up his competition a little bit. Yeah. But I do like that he didn't get in the way of the Charlo Castaño fight. From what I understand, he's ranked number 1 in the WBO, so he's in the mandatory position. He didn't get in the way of it. So maybe now he could just become the mandatory of the winner. I would respect that. And I mean, that would be a huge step up for him to fight his first world title fight. It will be for undisputed. But hey, man, if he's that confident in himself, then yeah, he's number one. He's number one in the WBO. And then in the Ring magazine, he's number 5. And to your point, Michael Blunt, he's Erickson Lubin is number 4. So that'll be the number 4 versus number 5 guy according to Ring magazine. So I like that fight. I like that fight. Also, they have Erislandy Lara at 3. But I was like, damn, man, I need Erislandy Lara to be more active and fight fights I want to see him more in. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off. But I appreciate you guys pulling up. I know it was totally random, but again, we was having a whole big conversation on Twitter, and I kind of wanted to get my shit off on as far as with the Haney-Kambosos talk. I want to see the fight. I want the fight to be happening. I want to see who's going to be undisputed. But unfortunately, this whole negotiation is being dragged out. And, we have to talk about the business of boxing sometimes. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to talk about the business, how, Devin Haney should get paid less and this and that. And you don't want to talk like that. And I definitely don't want to knock another man's hustle. But when one fighter is saying like, hey, listen, the fight just not going to happen unless it is Australia. And since the fight is going to be in Australia, it's going to be for less money. You kind of do put 2 and 2 together. You either take less money to make the fight in Australia, or you don't want to go to Australia. You don't take less money, but you fight somebody inferior, and your career is kind of stuck on a treadmill. Devin Haney has to look in the mirror and make that decision for himself. I hope he chooses, going to Australia and figuring out how much is the most he can make over there, with which may have to be taking a pay cut, and then whatever you beat him. Your next fight, man, against whether it be Loma or Tank or Haney, you hear me, or any of those guys, it'll be for big money. It'd be for money, big money. Look at the long run. Look at the long run. Sorry, but I can't. But can Devin Haney and Kambosos fill that stadium? The capacity is like 50,000. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how popular Kambosos is in Australia, but that was a pretty big win, man. Teofimo Lopez in his home country, you drop him in the first round after getting predicted that you were going to get knocked out in the first round. I think he's a very popular fighter over there in his country. So 50,000, I don't know. It seems like a lot, but I wouldn't go put it past that he puts 20. That was a big, big win. And in Australia, they don't really have a lot of boxers. So if you got one boxer who scored the best upset of last year in Madison Square Garden, it was in a little room in Madison Square Garden, but it was still Madison Square Garden. That was pretty impressive, and I'm sure he has a big fan base or in Australia based off that one win. And I also seen mad videos of him out there taking pictures with hundreds of fans mobbing him, and also he's of Greek descent, so a lot of people who are Greek and live in Australia, like there's a community there, so they identify with him. And also you have to think like there's probably people who live in Greece that are gonna fly in to go see their descendant fight for the undisputed lightweight championship. Then you got the regular Australian fans, and then you got the regular boxing fans who just want to see a good fight. And Kambosos versus Haney is a good fight, and it's for undisputed. So I don't see why that fight can't get made. I mean, why that fight can't have 50,000 in it. Why not? I think so. I mean, 50,000 seems like a lot. I think they could get 20 to 25,000, considering that this guy had a really, really big win, and again, is the only boxing superstar from Australia and Greece. Maybe not the only one in Australia, because from what I understand, Tim Tszju's a big draw out there. Yeah. Oh, I want them to sell it out. Just don't want them to get ahead of themselves. Yeah, I agree. I just, but they have to do the math. All right. Can we break even if we sell 10,000? Can we break even if we sell 20,000? Can we break even if we sell 50,000? Like, that's something between the promoters and the fighters that they need to work out and figure out. And also it's a matter of understanding your market. And Kambosos seems very confident that he could sell out that stadium. So that means he knows his market. That means he knows that he can sell out and be happy. And that's according to how he's moving, how he's talking on Twitter. You have to come to Australia. You have to come in Australia. We could sell out a stadium. We could sell out a stadium. He's talking like that. He would know his market better than I will. You know what I'm saying? He would. He would. Yeah. But all right, guys. That was my video. Again, I appreciate all of y'all coming through. Appreciate it. Again, remember, keep Robert Easter in your prayers. Guy got shot 3 times. Boxer. He's a part of our fraternity. We want to see him live. We want to see him continue his career as far as, health. And we want to see him back in the ring. We want to see him back in the ring 100% healthy. I don't know where he was shot, but he was shot 3 times. He's in surgery currently. Let's hope that surgery goes well. Let's hope he survives and has 100% recovery. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.